Alrighty guys, so here's another pair of GU, one of my other favorite pairs to trade. I know a lot of people are going to ask me, hey Daniel, is there any way I can do this on the 1 hour instead, or can I do this on the 4 hour? Yes, you guys can do this. I don't recommend you do it with the 15 minute. I don't really like it that much, just because, remember, the 30 minute is mostly respected, so if your 15 minute looks good on one 15 minute candle, the second 15 minute candle can reverse. Because remember, it takes two 15-minute candles to make a one 30-minute candle. So even though that 15-minute candle looks good, that 30-minute candle is just key. It's just very key. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you have it in confluence and it looks the same as your 30-minute candle. So when it comes to the 15-minute, guys, I don't recommend you do it. 30-minute is just the perfect time frame for this setup. The 1 hour, you guys can do this. The 4 hour, you guys can do this. So I'll show you guys a little bit of examples, and I'll kind of show you how they work out amazing and how they kind of can be very scary. So let's just start off right here. As you guys can see here, boom, we had a nice little setup. What do we have here? We have a form of resistance that we created right here, because what happened? We had market structure break to the downside on the 4 hour, creating new lower lows. We had this retracement, which was also a Fibonacci retracement, by the way. What did I do here? Let's remove that. So what happened? We're going to be patient. But look at this. What has to happen? We got to wait for two 4 hour candles to actually come to be there, which is 8 hours. You got to wait 8 hours to take that trade. So look at this. Remember, this is support right here. So what are we going to do? Look at that. Oh my God, it's so clean. It is so clean. So clean. So look at this. What happened? We formed a resistance right here. If we would have had a stop loss after we enter this candle, stop loss above this wick, what is our stop loss? Our stop loss is 38 pips. But either way, this is kind of a little too tight. You know what I'm saying? So even though our stop loss is 40 pips, there are 30 pips, like let's just say 30 pips. You know what I'm saying? 39 pips. Target this zone. It's 65 pips. But we were in a drawdown for 4 hours. We were basically in a drawdown for about 4 hours on this trade, because we don't know if this happened before or after. We don't know. But we do know that this candle was bullish. So that means basically we were still in this range for 4 hours before the next 4 hours came to retest this, which it could have broke above and then come back down. And what did it do? It ended up coming back. So it took about 8 hours for that trade to form, and it took about 8 hours for that trade to play out. So that's 16 hours. That's a whole damn day, which is good for people who like swing trading. So I only recommend you guys do this if you are a swing trader. So keep in mind, guys, it does take a lot of patience when you are a swing trader, and it also takes a lot of patience to do this. And what happened? We broke, boom, rejected this, and just came wicking down. So we don't know what happened here. We don't know why this zone broke down, touched this level of support, came right back close. So let's go to the 30 minute. Let's see if we could have caught that move. Let's see. All right, so we broke under support, just in one 30-minute candle. I mean, it was all one move, so we couldn't have really caught it. You know what I'm saying? We really couldn't have caught it. So yeah, we can do this on higher time frames. That was a 4 hour. As you guys can see here, the same literally a setup right here. Rejected level of support, fat rejection. We waited to close bullish. Stops under the wicks. Man, that's a 60-something pip stop loss. But look at this. We would have to have broken this zone for 49 pips to potentially reach this zone for 100 pips. And if we would have broke this zone, this would have been our next zone, which still hasn't hit yet. But as you guys can see, it did play out real nice. You know what I'm saying? Look at this. Boom. We have this level of resistance that trade did break above. Now look where it gets, look how it gets scary. Remember, these are 4 hour candles. So imagine we got 4, 8, 12, 16, 20 hours, 24 hours, 28 hours for this play to actually form and actually play out to catch the whole move. So you waited more than a day for this, literally. Waited more than a day for this. So let's see, we broke above resistance right here. We had to wait for it to kind of create a level of support. So if we would have entered here after this, look at this. This doesn't make sense. You kind of had to wait. You know what I'm saying? Which you would have never had. Some people probably would have done this. Stops below here, but that's an 89 pip stop loss. So that doesn't really make sense. This is why we go to our smaller time frames. So as we broke above here, what happened? Your best bet entry on this one could have been like after this candle close to go here, but it's still a 60 pip stop loss. So keep in mind, guys, if you want to swing these, remember stop losses are massive. But we ended up not being able to do that. We kept coming back down, very bearish, and then we kind of didn't even create a form of a wick here to use as a support. We just kept going up. So this trade would have been super risky, and that's why I like to depend on this more in the 30-minute, guys, because it's a way more cleaner setup. You know what I mean? Look, this is literally the setup that we couldn't take on the 4-hour, but if we see here on the 30-minute, you'll see that respected this, you know, we're still very bullish on the 4-hour time frame. And as you guys can see, we created this level of support. Boom. Wait for some type of engulfing. Stops below here. Keep targeting the zones. Look at that. This one, 54 pips. 50 pips, I'm sorry. Target the next one. We'll have 74 pips. Beautiful. I mean, guys, it's a lot better than the 30-minute. But like I said, guys, I'm not going to force anybody. I know people like to swing trade. So, you know, let's kind of go and look for more examples and, you know, how this works. So what do we have here? Basically, we have this going down, new lower lows. We're trending right now at this moment. We form a form of resistance. What happens? We would have sell here the second this happened. Stops below here. That's 123 pip stop loss. So what do you have to do eventually? You got to target about 123 pips because you want to have at least a minimum of 1-to-1, you know, risk to reward ratio. So let's go to the daily. Let's go to the daily. This level right here had take profit 1. But then again, guys, keep in mind that this is creating all-time history lows. So this situation, it wouldn't have helped. So let's try to go to a better little example right here. As you guys can see, we are kind of trending right now. We're kind of trending in this little channel, as you guys can see right there. So remember, when the markets trend is your friend. You can eat up real good with our strategy, especially with the Fibonacci, you know? So what do we have here? We have this kind of a little push to the downside. Don't let this blue candle, you know, kind of like affect you. What do we have here? We have the golden zone right there. Boom. Oh, damn it. We have the golden zone right here. Now, boom. This took 3 days in order for this, when price came up here, to form. So let's say we wanted to sell. Remember, we have to wait for some type of form of resistance to play out, to have the wicks right under. So look at this. This is kind of cool because right now we're using a Fibonacci and our support and resistance, which we will go and throw way more examples on there, especially with the 15-minute, my favorite type of setup when I'm aggressively scalping. So what are we doing here? We have the golden zone. We created a form of resistance on top inside the golden zone, and now we have about a 70-80 pip stop loss to potentially target this zone right here, which was 133 pips. Beautiful right here. And then after, what are we going to do? Remember, we got to keep going all the way in the future. Other future levels of support to keep targeting. Because remember, we break above, break under, we're going to keep going down. Okay. Here we just kept breaking down. So look at that. At the end of the day, we risked 80 pips to make 166 pips. So this did take exactly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It took literally 2 weeks. Took literally 2 weeks, which is about 3 trading weeks. Because remember, we have only 5 trading days in a week. Well, 5 realistic trading days in a week. So imagine, it took about 2, almost basically 3 weeks of your time trading on that one. So let's go to a more cleaner setup. Okay, what can we do here? We have this level of resistance that was broken. Okie dokie. In this situation, it is a daily. So what happens? This is a very, very, very aggressive entry. Very aggressive entry. Remember, created, broke above, could have had stops right under here. So how are we going to develop, how are we going to target these zones right here? We're going to go in the future. I mean, in the past. Oh my God, I'm sorry. We're going to go in the past and we're going to kind of highlight these zones. We're not even going to highlight them. We're just going to use these little horizontal rays. That would be 1. That would be 2. And that would be 3 up here. Let's see if they all hit. You know, that would be 3 right up here. Let's just put 4 right here just to be safe. Let's see. Oh my God, price ended up hitting all of them. Insane. So look at that. That was a really big return on this aggressive entry. But don't be fooled. You won't always get this lucky. Remember, this is Forex trading. Not everybody's a millionaire trader. So look at that. As you guys can see, this thing just kept going up. But our first take profit would have been this level right here. Keep that in mind, which was 2 times your risk, which was really good. So you risked about 70 pips to make about 170 pips. So that was really, really good trade. Let's look at gold. Look at gold on the 4-hour. Remember, these setups happen all the time, every other single day. You know, this is December. Why not just check December, right? So what do we have? We have market creating a new higher high. Very, very bullish. So what do we have being created here? We have our beautiful level of support, which we will find ways to be able to enter on these trades. So this is why higher time frames are very scary, because look at this. We got faked out right here. Formed the level of support, could have entered here. Stop losses under this wick, like let's say right here. And look at that. Boom. We got stopped out right there. We got stopped out right here, as you guys can see. There you go. We got stopped out right here before price came all the way back down. Boom. So now look at this. We could have had another entry right after this candle closed. So the second this thing closed, again bullish, projecting here, could have entered on this next candle. Stops below the wicks. Look at this candle. We don't even know, because we could have had stops like right here and we could have got stopped out. You never really even know nowadays. So you could have had your stops right here and you would have got lucky, or you would have got screwed. So this is why I really don't like to swing these, but you know, keep in mind, you got to be very careful. So in this situation, yeah, man, this ended up faking you out and then coming back up and kept going up. So now guess what? What are we doing? We're going with the trend. Boom. Find new levels of support. We still didn't create new higher highs, but we didn't create new lower lows. So in this situation, keep in mind, guys, what is this right here? This is a golden zone for our Fibonacci long. And boom, what do we have? We have a form of support that was created. Get in after this candle. Stops below the wicks. 40 pip stop loss. Target the next zone. Look at that. Making almost 2 times your risk right here. Beautiful. Clean, clean, beautiful, beautiful, clean, clean, clean. And as you guys can see, we kept going and going. Remember, this is our other level of resistance. So remember, once we would have broke above, oh, look at that. Boom. Broke above, came back down, broke above, came back down. Went up, broke above again. Could have had a super aggressive entry, just like our other day, our other trade that we just showed not too long ago. Stops under the wicks, under the support, meaning the trade will no longer be valid. Very aggressive, not even a big risk. Look at that. What's that? It's literally nothing. And boom. Real nice, real beautiful, real pretty. Let's go to the 1 hour. Okay, look at this. Look how gold is just trending real nice, real beautiful. Look at that. We're creating new lower lows, but we have a very strong level of support. We also have a level of resistance here. Bear with me, guys. I'm so sorry. This video is long. We have a level of resistance here. Now we have another level of resistance here. Coming down. Now we're just ranging. So what are we going to do? We're going to patiently wait for a break. So now that we have a break, as you guys can see, boom, we broke above under here. So now we're not worried about what's happening here. Look at that. We run our Fibonacci from here to here. What happens? Golden zone. What are we going to do in the golden zone? Boom. We're using multiple confluences at this point. So we're going to wait to form some level of resistance. Boom. That being right here. Enter. Stops above the previous wick. 60 pip stop loss. What can we target as our take profits? We can target our 4 hour, we can target all take profits that were all smashed. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, boom, this is just a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful confirmation as well as confluence with the Fibonacci. So if you ever want to trade them alone, you know what you got to do. But remember, we like to use them both in confluence, so that way we adding a lot of more, let's say, bullets to the gun in a gunfight. You know what I'm saying? Because dude with the 8-round mag probably doesn't have a chance against a dude with 100 freaking extendos. A bad example. You know, dude with the extendo 100-round clip wins. You know what I'm saying? So anyways, I'm gonna cut this video, man. I'll see you guys in the next one. Next video, I will kind of explain about a 15-minute